because it's not the normal model, you have to continue to prove yourself. You have to continue to evolve. You have to continue to show people, hey, this can be done. So you really have to find a customer who's going to be bought into the story, who's not going to treat you like another customer, because again, you're not the same. You're not down the street. You can't call and say, hey, I need 50 kilos tomorrow. It's not going to happen.
Friends, we have an announcement. On October 28, 29 and 30, Maple Forward is proud to present the first of its kind live online event titled Introduction to Regenerative Coffee Farming. This workshop will happen live in 3 different events in English, Spanish and Portuguese to help coffee producers and the rest of us in the coffee industry understand regenerative ag and how to implement it so that coffee farmers stand a chance at surviving these brutal weather conditions long into the future. It will also help us understand how we can talk about regenerative ag to our customers. This live online presentation will be led by highly specialized and experienced agronomists, coffee producers, and agricultural engineers who have worked transforming coffee farms from conventional farms to regenerative farms and agroforestry around the world. Tickets are $10 for coffee producers and $150 for everybody else. When you pay $150 though, you're securing your ticket and the ticket of 14 other coffee producers that didn't quite have the funds to pay for their own tickets. Not only does your ticket buy you access to the workshop, but it also gives you access to newly formed WhatsApp groups, one in English, one in Spanish, one in Portuguese, where people can continue to exchange information and ideas about regenerative ag before and after the workshops. For more details, head to mapleforward.coffee/workshops. Check the link in the show notes for details and help us spread the word about this workshop by sharing our posts on social media. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is unfortunately the final episode of this series. Stephen's first time in the podcast, the first of many times that you'll be back over the years, I hope, sir. As we follow what I think is going to be something that happens more and more in the industry, which is roasting at origin. And I think that this is going to have 2 different kind of approaches. Some are going to roast at origin to create a local market, and some are going to roast at origin and create an exporting market. And in this episode of this series, as we talk about roasting, packaging and shipping from origin, we're specifically going to talk about this as a viable business model for coffee producers who want to pivot to this and either look at establishing this as a viable extra revenue stream in their business, or they may decide that they want to go out and get investment money and grow this into something much bigger and do as you were talking about in the last episode, where it's almost like a co-roasting facility sort of that also offers packaging and exporting and, distribution and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that I would like to start this conversation, a lot of people imagine these kinds of things and they completely underestimate how long it's going to take to get there. They think it's a 12-month journey. So when someone's approaching a business model like this, what are your recommendations in, let's say, the planning phase?
Again, number one is have customers. Have a strategic plan to where you're going to sell this coffee. A lot of farmers, we're a private label company, so we're very happy to develop a product, but we don't have a customer we can just call and say, hey, this farmer came up to me, he wants to sell us your coffee, can you take a whole bunch?
Right.
We have to develop a product around that. We're developing right now. We've been working with for the last 5 years on getting to small estates certified organic. They're now some of the first organic certified farms in all of Kenya. And so we're developing a product around that will be certified. But I think that's a lot of times the challenge is farmers will say, hey, here's some coffee, can you sell it? We have a challenge finding customers. There's still a stigma about coffee being roasted at origin, whether the quality is there, whether
really
for sure. Absolutely. And when things happen, like happened with because of packaging material. It gives you a bad reputation. You have
Right.
to continue because it's not the normal model. You have to continue to prove yourself. You have to continue to evolve. You have to continue to show people, hey, this can be done. So you really have to find a customer who's going to be bought into the story, who's not going to treat you like another customer because, again, you're not the same. You're not down the street. You can't call and say, hey, I need 50 kilos tomorrow. It's not going to happen. So I think it's really difficult. To just go out there and say, look at my awesome product from origin, come buy it up. I think you really have to have a customer. That was what was really lucky for us. We had a built-in customer, our investor.
Right.
It's now challenging for us because their volumes have slowed down a little bit. And so now that's also a challenge because when your customer base is 70% is one customer, if their numbers are off 20 or 30%,
there's
really,
a negative feedback loop.
It becomes harder to forecast. So it's all of those things, you have to think about who is your customer because you're going to have to forecast how much coffee you're going to need. You're going to have to do all of those things. And so the type of customer you have, it's going to determine the regulations you need to follow, the certifications you're going to have. And, maybe you do create something like, there's some higher end, I think roasters out there, like in Panama, like 90 Plus is doing their own roasting down there. Roasting, I think in Ikawa, they roast 100 grams and they send it out. It works for them because they're going after a much different type of
apples and oranges, though, right?
Exactly, completely different. So again, I think really understanding who your customer is, and also if it's something you want to look at and you're smaller, see who else is doing it, see who you can partner with, who you might be able to do. We're certainly, we're big, we're doing it. We're not the only people doing it anywhere. I think we've made it more accessible because we have blank bags and we can print stickers and we can do all of these things. But all we are really is we're any other private label coffee roasting company in the world, but we happen to be in Kenya. I mean,
right.
You don't work in a different way.
And compliance to the
exactly
to the hill.
Yeah. And so, the logistics can be challenging, all those things, but that's going to continue to become more challenging. Logistics are not going to get any cheaper. So then I think it's also thinking bigger picture. Well, shoot, not every farmer produces. This is a comment I saw one of your recent podcast guests, who I really have a lot of respect for. The comment was something about, oh, these roasters buy cheap coffee. Well, farmers produce cheap coffee. No farmer produces all 88-point coffee.
Right.
All farmers produce somewhat of a bell curve. Yeah. And if you're only going to buy the good coffees, what are you just going to leave the ones sitting on the ground that aren't good? They have to be sold somewhere. And then if you're a producer and you say, well, shoot, again, other value streams, soluble, decaffeination, all of those things, as you look at the bigger picture, are things to look at. Again, there's this argument. I was watching one of your older episodes today when you asked the person to define quality. That's a tricky one. And you were talking about your friend who wanted the Italian espresso.
Shout out to Angelo.
Yeah. But that is really tricky. How do you define quality?
Right.
It is something I grapple with all the time. And what is specialty coffee? Is it the green coffee? Is it what you're drinking? Is it, I think we all agreed that specialty coffee is a combination of things to create a good experience of having a nice coffee, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't articulate that so well, but what is quality? I had a group of Danish store managers visit my factory, and the very next day I had a group of just similar to what you were saying, of Kenyan food professionals. These were all I did a tasting, a very simple. It was our first cupping where I just have a tray with maybe 3 or 4 different coffees, just individual ones, so people have their own in front of them. And I had a Brazil Good Cup. We're talking about 12 screen Brazil Good Cup. We're talking about a solid 76, 77 on a good day, 78 maybe. I had a washed or a natural Burundi coffee from Long Miles Coffee. I had a washed Rwanda from the Dukundakawa Cooperative, and I had a washed Kenya AA from someone. And it was not being biased, and as we went through the tasting, just kind of trying to slurp as much of that Brazil as I could. And we get to the end, and I just said, "Hey, show of hands, how many, or not show of hands, I have them do it on paper, so also not influenced by the people around them."
Mm-hmm.
But unanimously, all of the Danish people, which of course you think about quality coffee, you think of Denmark and Collective, and all 14 of them chose that Brazilian coffee as quality coffee. Yeah. And the very next day, the Kenyans all chose everything except for that coffee. But again, it was none of these were coffee professionals, but they were used to what it was they're exposed to in their place. And does that personal preference? And yeah, to them it's quality, though. To them, if you say which is the best quality thing, and what are we going to do now? Define? Oh no, that's not quality. That's personal preference. It's a tricky thing,
What you talk about.
Completely off topic. But
No, you're exactly on topic. Why? Because what we always talk about when we're either working in mastermind groups or in the consulting work is we talk about the importance of customer acquisition planning. And the reason is because we have 6 pillars that are a part of acquisition planning. And an important part of that is the direct correlation between your customer and your product. And you understanding the correlation between the problem that your product is solving for that customer. So you really demonstrate the point very well there, that if somebody is going to set up a business at Origin that's roasting, they really have to understand who they're roasting that coffee for, because 100%. The subjectivity of what good coffee is and what good quality is a deal breaker when it comes to the success of your business. If you're trying to sell dark roasted coffee to people who love light roasted coffee, you are immediately setting yourself up for failure. So understanding who your customer is and how to roast for that customer, or going and finding customers who are going to want the product that you've got. And the other thing is understanding that the product itself is all but one part of the actual service. You being able
100%.
Go ahead.
And what you said, same thing. This gets back to this it's still a neo-colonial industry. Just because you start roasting, don't think that buyer is now going to be, you were worried about your variety and your fermentation, or now you're going to worried about your development time, your this, your that, your next thing. It's just another thing that they're going to demand more because you can be more specified now. I want my micron to be this. I want my agtron to be this, or my color track. I want my development time to be this. That's everything.
And we haven't started talking about packaging. We haven't started talking about make sure it's compliant to this, make sure that it's that. Well, and also, how is the delivery going to be taken? Like all the logistic that's involved. I was faced with a situation with a client where they were like, I have a customer who wants just-in-time delivery. So for the folks who don't know what that means, is that these are big corporates who they don't like to have any stock sitting on the shelf. To them, that's money. And so what they do, they expect their supply chain to be able to deliver them so that their new stock arrives just as their old stock is running out. This works well when it works well. It falls to shit when anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
Any slight little thing that goes wrong, it's a big problem. You could see when COVID, when this became a big, massive problem. But it doesn't even need COVID to be a problem. There's one ship that gets stuck in the Suez Canal, everyone's fucked.
Yeah.
Around the world. It's a big problem. these are the kinds of things that you should consider. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do this. It just means that if you're going to do this, please don't think that you could do it with $10,000 and a lot of grit. Right? It's going to need investment. Can you talk a little bit, Stephen, about talent?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say back to the grit is going to take a lot of tears too, because
Right.
I mean, it's remarkable. Again, you're doing something different. I'll get back to talent real quick.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We had my first container micro lots for this project. And there was a lot of different micro lots. It was coming from Congo, actually. And there was one document that was wrong. And one document was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I physically was standing next to that container, touching it.
You can touch it.
I couldn't open it. They made it ship to Singapore because one document was incorrect.
Wow.
Because they were they couldn't possibly be exporting green coffee to Kenya. They were like, oh, it must be going to Singapore. This sort of, because the office of the trader was in Singapore. So somehow one little document that said destination Singapore, Kenya Revenue Authority said, nope, this container will not be opened.
That must be heartbreaking.
Yeah. So yeah, talent too is super important. I mean, again, running a roasting facility is not easy, especially when you have so many moving parts. But I think for me, most of my talent has been interns, young Kenyan people who have really good educations. My compliance manager, who I talked about, came to me as an intern, getting her food safety degree. She had planned to go to the U.S. to get her master's degree, got into school, got approved, and then we offered her a full-time management position at 24, and she stayed.
Wow.
Person who runs George, who runs my lab, all of my QC with me, kind of keeps me in check.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. He had actually was the coach for the Kenyan Barista Champion one year, so he got to spend some time at Counterculture and up at Amsterdam for World of Coffee. He was working at a hotel, got laid off during COVID, and was like, hey, can I work for free? And I was like, yeah, I'll pay you a little bit. And now he kind of runs my whole department for me, along with me. And so I just think, I mean, that's also something that's so rewarding. But I also think there's a certain level of talent. Our company is mainly Kenyan. There's myself, who's from America, our CEO, who's from Denmark, who's great and has helped us grow, and then our sales person, who's also from Denmark. I think for us, ideally we would be all Kenyan. We're not there yet, but I'm also constantly trying to develop my people, especially two of my people, into what I could do. If I died tomorrow, the company would have a problem. So that's always a vulnerability we don't want to have. So one of my biggest challenges for 2025 is developing the two people who I work most closely with into a place where they could really kind of do everything if I wasn't there. So, yeah.
When we talk about talent and when we hear what you've just said, there's a bridge that needs to be built with talent, which in your organization sounds like it's you, right? If we're roasting at origin and we're shipping and we're exporting roasted coffee to another country, we've got to be able to understand what that other country wants. So it's either going to be a Kenyan person who has lived in that other country that's going to be running the business, or it's going to be talent from another country that knows how to understand the roast profiles that they drink, or know how to adapt, know how to read the market. Am I right?
Well, in the beginning, yeah, but I don't think, again, it's just little things like, we find out what kind of water our customer has, and I use third wave water to adjust our water. It's just those little things that we think about.
But to know to do that.
Yeah, that's tricky. I mean, I think when ACR first started out, when they first brought me on as a consultant, they had hired a very well respected, someone I have a lot of respect for, cupper, who's a great cupper. He's an amazing cupper, has been around the industry for a long time, but he had never run a production roasting facility. And I think there's also the idea sometimes, well, he's the best cupper in the country, he can run this thing, which may be the case, but I mean, even I learned, I've been working in the industry for a long time. I don't know everything about everything. We started doing these bricks all of a sudden, because I never really paid much attention to density before. All of a sudden, my bricks aren't fitting in the container, because with a brick, you only have 3 millimeters to play with regards to. I have to reach out all the time to people who know more about things than I do, because I just don't know. When we started, our capsule line is on hiatus right now because we're switching to compostable capsules, and there's an investment involved in that. We had compostable capsules before, but we weren't happy with the quality, and now we have a new supplier. But that's a great example. We've switched. We had plastic capsules to begin with. We switched to compostable. Every time you switch to a different type of capsule, you have to modify your entire machine, because the tiny little bits of the capsule are slightly different.
Wow.
So you have to buy your entire machine to fit now this new type of capsule. So, but just roasting capsules is totally, I mean, the way that you roast capsules to get a good extraction, you can do it, but it's totally reverse the roasting science. That you do the crazy thing to do it. It took me so long. Again, I reached out to other people to find out, because one coffee expert might be like an expert in this one thing, but there's so many aspects to coffee and expertise that you just you don't know, and you don't realize, and you only realize when you come to that bump in the road.
Yeah, wow. Stephen, this has been fantastic. I'm very grateful that you finally...
Done already?
I think you're going to get shocked when you realize most of these episodes have been half an hour.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah,
a lot of people come on the podcast and they're like, what are we going to talk about for 2 hours? Is it really and then they get to the end of it and say exactly what you just said. It's like, really, we're done? So this has been a delight. Again, I hope this is the first of many times that you'll be on the podcast. You have a wealth of knowledge in this industry and a lot more stories to share with us. One day you're going to share the story of Blue Bottle going into Japan, I hope. And the green coffee situation. That was fantastic. Anyway, tell people where they can find out, where they can connect with you, and where they can find out more about ACR.
Yeah, cool. We're just at africancoffeeroasters.com. Our website is still a work in progress. I'm on Instagram. I think it's Stephen_Vick.
Well, there'll be links.
Good. Yeah, I'm not sure where you can find me.
Well, what about LinkedIn? You're on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn too. You can find me there. I don't know what the name is. But then, and then I'm also, maybe next time we can talk about, I'm also starting a new little project that I'm...
Do you want to quickly talk about that now, or do you want to save it till next time?
Yeah, save it till next time.
Okay, perfect.
But I think this holiday season, there'll be a little bit of the first opportunity to experience it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Go and connect with Stephen on Instagram, and then you'll be able to be kept up with all of that. We will have links in the show notes. Thank you again, sir. This has been spectacular. That's it. I need you to sign us off.
Oh, you need to sign us. Peace, love, and peanut butter.
Have an amazing rest of your day, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.
I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon. And stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward.